Adequate notice for this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Law 1975. Said notice was advertised in the Beacon, was posted on the bulletin boards and showing the time and place of the meeting. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. First up is presentation from the U.S. Air Force to Lacey Police Department.
Mayor, just thank the mayor and the committee for having us here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Senior Master Sergeant Thatcher from the United States Air Force.
All right. Hi, everybody. Just wanted to say how much I appreciated the support that the police department gives to our citizen airmen. And recently, Officer Edwards did a tour to where I was in charge of all the they formerly called it Key Resolve and Freedom Guardian exercises in the Pacific Theater, basically Korea, Hawaii, things like that. We had a comm van that was stuck in a not so good place, in a not so good area. Had to be broken into because it had I don't know, $150,000 plus worth of spooky equipment, things like that in it. And this guy goes and gets a hammer, wraps it up in a cloth, goes and gets a standard wedge like the bottom of a door, and just wraps that up and just kind of gently gets in and does what the Korean and the local fire department couldn't do, which was to get into the van without damaging the equipment of the van itself. That also enabled the team that van was attached to do a real world mission, involving several general officers to get things done. So it was a really big deal for me. In addition to that, the police department, I'm going to kind of read it. No issues whatsoever when I asked to take Matt for a couple of months. So I wanted this basically says presented to the Lacey Township, New Jersey Police Department in sincere appreciation for supporting its citizen airmen, the United Nations mission, and the United States Allied Republic of Korea from the months of January through March of 2019. So thank you very much. So you can see it. It's a beautiful plaque. You guys read it, enjoy it. And thank you again.
You're welcome.
The support.
Our pleasure. You're welcome.
I'd just like to take a minute just to thank you for being here this evening. But above and beyond that, I'd like to thank you for what you do and the United States Air Force does and all our military branches do for us. We couldn't do what we do without you. So I really do appreciate that. Let's give the sergeant a round of applause. I'd also like to acknowledge Special Officer Edwards. He's been with us now for a couple of years. He's been in the Air Force Reserve now for almost 5 years, and he does a really good job for us. I'm sure what he does for the Air Force is a direct reflection of his performance with us. So thank you. I really do appreciate that, and I look forward to working with you in the future as well. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Mayor.
Yep.
Good job.
You, Chief. I have one question for Special Officer Edwards. Where did you learn those skills?
What do you think, you just carjacking or something on the side?
Job experience.
Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
That's it.
Thank you again for your service. Okay. Number 2, request to post signs, Lacey Soccer Club.
Lacey Soccer is having their spring registration. They would like to post signs as of this weekend in advance of their event. Motion?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I have nothing to add on to this agenda, so I just need a motion to adjourn.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Move it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving right along into the Township Meeting. Okay. Adequate notice for this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act pursuant to public laws of 1975. Said notice was advertised in the Asbury Park Press and the Beacon and was posted on the bulletin boards showing the time and place of the meeting. Please rise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Second reading of the ordinance 2019-05 authorizing the municipal cap bank.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 48:4-45.14. This is the second reading. We need to open the floor to public comment.
Open this up to the floor.
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Motion on the ordinance?
Need a motion on the ordinance?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Moving to
Yeah,
number three.
yeah, but I had
We
to
have
amend,
move some
yeah, I
stuff.
had to move it around. Had it in the wrong order.
Yeah, resolution 2019-121 authorizing the reading of the budget by title.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the reading of the budget by title only. Linda, do you have anything to add here?
We're adopting on time within caps. This year's 2019 budget sits at $32,535,500. Same as the introduced budget, no changes. What does that mean to you as a homeowner? If your home is assessed at the average assessed home at $278,100, you'll expect to pay about $41.38 more this year for this budget, which is about $3.44 a month.
Do we need a motion on that resolution, please?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes.
Now we move on to opening the floor to public comments on the 2019 municipal budget.
Any comment from the floor?
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2019-122 adopting the 2019 municipal budget.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, adopting the local municipal budget of the Township of Lacey for the fiscal year 2019. General appropriations, $31,423,963. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $1,111,537. Total general appropriations comes out to $32,535,500, less anticipated revenues of $17,501,500, and the amount to be raised by taxes for support of this budget is $15,034,000. Motion on this resolution.
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Okay, second reading of ordinance 2019-06 authorizing the 2019 bond ordinance for the 2019 capital projects and equipment.
Okay, this is the second reading of the bond ordinance in order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment appropriating $3,292,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,434,280 in bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorized in and by the Township of Lacey in the County of Ocean. Okay, this is our projects that we're bonding this year for the various emergency service squads, for public safety, for DPW, for infrastructure and road improvements that the Township of Lacey is doing, and recreation and dredging improvements and park improvements and improvements to the municipal building. This is second reading, so we need to open the floor to public comments. Any public comments?
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Motion on the ordinance.
Motion on the ordinance?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2019-123 certifying the 2018 LoSAP recipients.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, certifying the list of volunteer firefighters and emergency service squad members who have qualified for the Length of Service Award Program benefits for the year 2018. This is the Length of Service Award Program. $1,150 is set aside for qualifying members who is on a point system, and they contribute to their service there. And this year, the township is a grand total of 191 qualifying members, and the amount is $140,300.
A motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Okay, resolution 2019-124, appointing seasonal recreation staff.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the employment of seasonal employees for the recreation staff. This is for our summer parks program, our beach patrol program, our extended school year program, the general office staff and senior staff, bus drivers, and our leaders in training volunteer program.
Have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2019-125, amending the contract with Hire and Burrell Associates.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, amending a contract with Hire and Gruel Associates as consultants for the New Jersey State Plan endorsement process.
Motion?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2019-126, calling on the state to make property tax relief a priority.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, calling for a renewed state commitment to making municipal property tax relief a priority. Obviously, as we know, that there was changes many, many years ago with regards to how the energy tax receipts was distributed, and the tax on gas and electric utilities were originally collected through us, the host communities. Now it goes to the state, they dip in, they take out their portion, they refund us the difference, and we're asking for it to go back, and so are many other municipalities, to the host communities being the ones that get the receipts of those energy taxes.
Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
And Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2019-127, awarding a contract for CDBG housing and rehabilitation program.
Resolution of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, awarding a contract to David Clark Construction under the terms and conditions of the Community Development Block Grant to provide a housing rehabilitation program. The Township of Lacey, on the odd years, actually receives money with regards to, even years, with Community Development Block Grant funds. Last year, we had put in application to help those with low income who needed housing assistance, such as roofs, doors, windows. And there is one project and one house that we will be, through David Clark Construction, remodeling. And what happens is the town puts on a second mortgage on the house, and they have to stay in the house 10 years, or else they have to pay it back at the time of closing if they were to sell the house or lose it due to foreclosure, and it's on a sliding scale. So right now, we are, like I said, we're able to do one house. There may be a second house that we'll be doing in the future.
Is that David Clark or David Frank?
David Clark, isn't it?
Okay.
He's out of Bayville. That's the contractor.
Motion?
Yeah.
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2019-128, authorizing the cancellation of taxes for 100% disabled veteran.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the tax collector to cancel the 2019 taxes due on a property granted the 100% disabled veterans exception and refund the resulting credit balance for Block 1311, Lot 33.
Motion?
Second.
No, who made the motion?
Do I need,
Apologies. Motion.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Okay, number 13, resolution 2019-129, authorizing the refund of deposits.
Resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the refund of deposits held for the use of municipal facilities.
Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Motion to approve the township meeting minutes of April 11th, 2019.
How about township bills?
Oh, I apologize.
You don't want to pay the bills? The poor people didn't do all that work and you don't want to pay them?
No,
All right, whatever.
I don't like paying
All
bills.
right, resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the payment of township bills in the amount of $1,399,056.90.
No motion on that?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve the township meeting minutes of April 11th, 2019.
Move it.
So second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the caucus meeting minutes of April 11th, 2019.
Move it.
So second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve raffle licenses for the Women's Club of Lacey, the Lacey Moose Lodge, the Robert Gallagher Charitable Foundation. Have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to amend the raffle license applicant for the Lacey Elks Lodge BPOE 2512.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, comments from the committee. We'll still stay at this end. Mr. Committeeman Giuliano.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I know we have a busy Saturday coming up because the Little League was canceled, and it's scheduled for this weekend, this Saturday. And then we have women's softball, too,
Right.
that's opening up. So it's going to be kind of hard for everybody to move around, but I just wanted to thank them all, and George Resitar, because I know he handles the Lacey Little League, and they do a great job. And I was down at the fields the other day. I walked down there, and the Public Works, of course, did the job that Public Works does in this town, an excellent job. The park looked beautiful. They were prepared for everything, so I want to thank them. Tomorrow, we have the senior luncheon. I know it's kind of short term to say on TV, but it's always a nice turnout. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to make it, but tomorrow's my wife's birthday, so I promised I'm going to take a day off from work. Okay? Even my boss even said, "You're taking a day off?" I said, "I'm taking a day off to spend with my wife." How's that? So that's what I'm going to be doing, but we're going to stop by the senior luncheon. I just want to thank, again, all the volunteers, like I always do, all the organizations in Lacey Township, our police department, our fire department, every department there is in this town, and the employees. They make Lacey Township what it is today, and everywhere I go, in different meetings, it's always brought up to me, where I said, I'm a committeeman in Lacey Township. That is an awesome town, and that's all that's all I hear everywhere I go. So the negativity, it's no good. It's all positive. Lacey Township is going in a direction I think is very good. We're getting more people involved with the township, which is a good thing. Ideas from different gentlemen are always good. And for a while there, I was a little sick. I was out of the picture on a few things, but now I'm going to get back into it again a little bit and work on some things with some of these organizations that have concerns. So that's going to be my deal. Other than that, please, weather's getting nice. Please watch everywhere you go in the township. The kids are out on the bikes. The weather's getting nice now, and when you're near the parks, please, keep an eye out. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Dykoff?
Oh, thank you. First, I wanted to point out, we have passed a resolution calling on the state to make property tax relief a priority. And, it's kind of funny, we're up here and certain things we're very passionate about, and you might see one of us make a motion or a second. I'm sure we all would like to jump up and make the motion that we urge the governor and the state to impose real property tax relief for us, whether it be fair funding for the schools, whether it be in ensuring that the funding that from the power plant continues, state aid for our township, because we do a lot with very little, and I think we, as Committeeman Giuliano said, we deliver a pretty good bang for our buck. So I just want to say that, and we'll keep on trying to do it. I'm the liaison to the Economic Development Commission, and what it is, it's a group of local businessmen and men or women from different factions of industry and or commerce that meet, and we discuss what potentially we can move forward within the township with the property and the zoning that we have, and possibly some rezoning. And just wanted to give a little explanation to the members. So the members they start with a representative of industry, a representative of labor, a representative of a clearinghouse or a bank, a member or representative of Chamber of Commerce, a member of a service club, Rotary or something like that, a member or representative of legal profession, and a member or representative of a real estate dealers association. And this has been in existence for how long, Veronica? Economic Development?
1995, I believe.
Okay, so 1995, they've seen a lot of different people, but I'm gonna call out one person in particular, who's been around for probably beginning, George Broom.
That's correct, he was one of our first
So we've
members.
got a gentleman, he's a member of real estate, George Broom, and his experience and knowledge is just irreplaceable, because we had our meeting last night, and he brought a folder from the past, 20-something years, and brought us up to date. And unfortunately, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And the things they talked about then, we're still talking about. Our town center designation is at the top of the list. The power plant is at the top of the list. And he's got some information that he brought to light that, we're gonna look at, and hopefully things are starting to come to fruition. The town center is starting to come to fruition. I think we're pretty close.
Yep.
I don't want to
Hopefully
be,
the next meeting.
but I think we're pretty close. So it's a really interesting thing, and I'll be bringing, as our meetings go, and we're feeling ourselves out. What happens is, we get started, and there's some frustration within the commission, because things don't move along, and we know how slowly things move in government. So as things move along and we get ideas, we'll be bringing them to the residents, and I'll be bringing them to the other residents, members of the committee. I did want to bring up, our Director of Economic Development had forwarded me a listing
Community
of,
Development,
huh?
Director of Community Development.
That's what I said, community development.
You haven't confused that for a minute.
Yes, yeah, had brought me a list of an update, and because I had brought it up to the members last night, of where the different projects are in progression. So basically, Lidl's moving along. They're hoping for a July 4th opening. The Fork River Animal Hospital, which is over by Fuji, is moving over by Ville Napoli, and that's to be determined. Aldi is doing their fit out, and they're looking to open in 3 to 4 months. Of course, we know Dollar General, or some people should know, the Dollar General by Beach Boulevard is now open. Walmart is going to be beginning an online grocery program, which might be good. And that about covers it. I'm sorry, Ocean County Family Care, where the shark pen used to be, which was kind of stagnant. They're resuming activity. And Capri's, both of the locations are hopefully, the front and the back are hopefully looking for an October or November opening. So that's where we're at. So I think that's some pretty good progress. The weather's turning nice. Hopefully that will spur things along. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Cortello.
Thank you, Mayor. And in that same regard and in that same light, the mayor and I cut the ribbon a few weeks ago, approximately 3 weeks ago, on RWJ Barnabas. That's located in the Hart Building at 731 Lacey Road. So as we heard Committeeman Dykoff talk about, there's a long list of businesses that continue to choose Lacey Township. In government, we control what we control, what we can control, and what we have control over. So part of that is our policies, our streamlining of our applications, the olive branch that you'll see extended to you if you have a business idea or question, and you go downstairs in this building to our building department and community
They moved
development.
to 124.
124 South.
Street. Sorry.
It's going to take some time.
Yeah, I know.
They've been here since
I still have a lot of
1970.
people coming around the building.
Right, at least I got that. So, this is continuing to move. In addition to that, we have all been talking about the estate card program, and reached out to that home base in Dallas, Texas earlier in the week. I'm gonna have some numbers, hopefully by next meeting. This is the program that has a direct reduction on property tax at no cost to the individual and a benefit value added to the merchants. We didn't want to leave our home field merchants out, our mom and pops out. They will benefit, as well as your choice of 3,200 online retailers. So regardless of what policies come out in Trenton, which are always seem to be a burden to the residents of Ocean County, and unfairly so. Majority of the folks in Ocean County work very hard. They're underappreciated and overtaxed, and that's in particular in Lacey Township. And that bugs me. That's a stone in my shoe. So I'm always going to be there to try to advocate to change that. And that's why we try to bring innovative programs in, like the estate card program. That information also went out. Our Municipal Utilities Authority was good enough to let us put some of that information out. It was a letter penned by our mayor, and it was in your most recent water bill. So if you still have it, please look at it and visit our website, laceytownship.org, to get additional information. I always, some of the time I'm up here, I like to comment on things that are the macro, the overarching, the national picture. I would like to say this in a brief comment. We have recently passed a resolution stating that we are not a sanctuary city. I want to applaud our president publicly in suggesting that illegal or undocumented folks should go to those cities who turn a blind eye to our federal immigration law and claim that they are sanctuary cities. Not for any other reason other than I'm a principled person, and I think the people that make those policies should reap the benefit of those policies or suffer the consequences of those policies. So Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, if you're listening, maybe you might want to rethink and start to follow federal law, because it is the law of the land. I would like to transition from there as tactfully as I can to spring programs at our rec department. We have everything from creative writing to yoga to flag football. There's something for everybody. Men and women, children, seniors. There's something for everybody in every age group. And in closing, I would also like to mention, Chief's right sitting in the audience, he reminded me earlier today, there is a wellness event on the 27th, Saturday, at 11 a.m., happens to be at Walmart. It's an initiative that they have there. They are offering, we choose no favorites, we're equally friendly to all our businesses in the town. And this wellness day in particular, they're having finger sticks for glucose, body mass index, blood pressure, cardio-cerebrovascular health, and the chief will have our mobile drop box over there. So again, kudos to the Lacey Police Department. If you have unused or expired medications at home that are not liquid, please feel free to bring them on that day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's this coming Saturday, the 27th. Also, located within the police department, as has been the case for many years, because we have a very progressive police department in our drug and alcohol enforcement, underage drinking, that is. There is the drop box located right in our police department. And with that, Mayor, I'll hope everyone had a good Easter and defer to you.
Thank you. Okay, let me talk about a couple of things here, and this is part of recreation. May 1st starts to sign up for the 3-on-3 and the volleyball and things of that nature. You can go online and take care of that. We earlier approved the seasonal recreation staff. That's money coming back into the township. They're all Lacey Township residents, young kids getting their first job. We all remember that, overworked, underpaid. And then we got our paychecks and got really mad at the government because they took a lot of our own money. So we all remember that. But more importantly, our recreation director, and with Veronica's help, we were able to get a waiver out of this minimum increase till next year. But we looked at that, and that minimum increase is going to cost this township, that minimum wage increase, about $25,000. So, and that's just kids learning to their first jobs. Whether you agree with it or not, it's still going to come out of your pocket, and it's just. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. It's just that. Other thing is, one of the things that Jim has put in place is open mic night, which is the second Friday of every month from now, I think, until probably September, over here at the Pavilion. And if you've got a band or something, you want to get up and sing a few songs, go right ahead. You can give them a call and we'll put you on. Been there a couple of times myself. Last year was pretty good. And I had some comments with Jim about it, and hopefully it'll be even better this year. The estate card, I don't know what the percentage is, but if you're not taking advantage of it, then shame on you, because it will help reduce, whether it's 25 or 50 or 100. I actually had one gentleman come up to me and said, "Can I do all of my shopping on the estate card? Can I figure out a way to get rid of my taxes?" And I said, "Go right ahead. If you want to do that and shop in Lacey and do all of that, all in Lacey Township, please do. We have no problem with that. I don't know how much it's gonna cost you to get to that number, but he was dead serious about it. Okay, recycling, one of the things I asked Veronica was to get where we're having problems with recycling in town, and I'm happy to report that we don't have any trucks being turned away. And that's a great job by our citizens. They've really stepped it up, because I think last year we were getting a few trucks turned away almost on a monthly basis. So, again, great job by our citizens. The trestle, walked down there the other night with my wife. That looks great. The whole park looks like I don't know what the end date for that is to connect everything over, but they're working very hard on it. I think it's just gonna be great. Something I brought up at the last meeting, and the chief and I texted each other about it, is this vandalism at Lidle. I'm not letting this go. I want to know who did it, and they will be subject to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. So at this point in time, it's an active investigation, correct, chief? And maybe not. You have some people you're looking at, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's all I have. That's all I have. So, all right, let me open this up to the public. Does the public have any comment here to say after this evening? Yes, sir. Come on down. State your name and address for the record, please.
Just give me, yeah, my name is Ron Martin. I live at 44 Dunbury Drive, Forked River, better known as Seabreeze. Two things I'd like to comment on the sanctuary city concern. That is a concern to all of our citizens. We recognize that as a democratic ploy to bring in a lot of people, to stuff communities, to cause more districts to be, have representation. And the outcome of that will be, when you look at what the numbers are, we will be a one-party country in a very, very short time. So whatever efforts are employed to put that in check, we will gladly assist to that. The second part that I'm really interested in is my favorite subject. Guess what? Oyster Creek. Okay? We have had calls, for those of you that are aware of it, we have a committee called the Concerned Citizens of Lacey Coalition. And we have supplied each of you with reams and reams of documentation as to items that will affect us as citizens of Lacey. Very basically, our concerns are we have a multi-billion-dollar tourism and we have a multi-billion-dollar fishing industry. Those are two things that we need to protect. In order to protect that, we need to ensure that this transition, the letter license transfer to the entity that Holbrook identifies as its LLC, clearly is working in a way that we would benefit. Our concern is that Holtec may benefit from a law that is under revision. We don't know who did the revision, but we take us 15 minutes to find out who, and that's the 53 law that's was passed that allocated $384 million to those plants that store spent rods on premise. That was the first. Then out of magic came the revision, and they added some other gobbledygook to it to mask whatever the intention was. But the intention was that any facility that has a nuclear license, that facility will garner the storage fees. Those storage fees were intended for the town. For 40 years, we have been keeping spent rods on premise, and we've gotten tickets for it. So we have been working hard to get an understanding on that, to see what it is that we could do to influence, direct, indirectly or directly, to ensure that Lacey Township gets that money. Now, our estimate, based upon the number of rods that are stored, there are 34 casts, 24 rods per cast. The town of Lacey should get between $12 and $15 million per year for those rods being stored. The background on that is that when Yucca went out of business, that law was initiated. So there's monies that should be coming to Lacey, okay? It concerns us that individuals, yet to be identified, have working to pass a resolution to say that that money would go to the owner of the land. So if the land is transferred to the LLC, Lacey does not benefit from any of those monies and does not recruit any monies for the time those rods have been in storage at Lacey. That's a primary concern. That's a hell of a lot of money. Now, the LLC says that they can decommission the plant in 10 years. God bless them. Do we in our committee have any animosity toward Singh? Mr. Singh, the owner of Holtec? No, he's a very sharp businessman. He's connected all the damn dots. He will get what he wants when he wants it, he thinks. Now, we had a meeting with Congressman Kim. We have an outline, we have a course of action that will develop over time. However, the concern that I have, all the materials that we sent to you, please, Holtec is a good company. I'm not saying anybody's a bad guy. Exelon has been a good company to Lacey. Not saying they're bad guys. However, they are working for their shareholders. They are not working for Lacey. And we have to understand that. And so I would like to ensure that there's support from the council working with the powers to be to ensure that we get that money that this town has earned over the last 40 years. Now, we have volunteered our services to you. We have given you literature galore. We have also, to show you the effect of what we have done, we have been contacted by groups outside of Indian Point, Pilgrim, Place in Michigan, Diablo Canyon just yesterday, and a couple of other facilities asking for copies of what we have researched so that they can help themselves to ensure that they guarantee the benefit of what should be theirs when it's available. One only has to look to Zion. Zion is taking a bath. That was decommissioned by the plant generator, okay? They ran out of money. What happened to Zion? They had to dismiss their police force. They had to dismiss any services provided to the community. What was left? Nothing. As a consequence, the homeowners realized at least a 50% decrease in the value of their homes. They had two choices, walk away or try to salvage what they can. Some of them tried to salvage it. How did they do that? They did it by renting. Who did they rent it to? Undesirables. And so now you have a lawless community. I don't want that to happen here. My wife and I moved into this community because we visited lots of locations, lots of stores, ate in a lot of restaurants, and guess what? People were terrific. Okay? Our concern is for the town of Lacey. We don't have a hidden agenda in our community. We can't have one. We come from many backgrounds. We have a whole hell of a lot of talent that we can share, and it's up to you guys to accept it, and we'll gladly work with you, but we also appreciate feedback. We've gotten very little feedback. So we're looking at that as a big opportunity for Lacey. What would you do with $15 million a year? That's the question. I know, you were here thinking about it.
We would do a lot. We would do a lot. We would do a lot.
Okay.
Well, we are well aware of what's happening, and we do talk, when we meet with our legislators and stuff, our state assemblymen and stuff like that, we talk to them about this all the time. As you and I have talked, and I've said it many, many times, we are so far down on the ladder, we need help on this. And so we're asking for the state, when we talk to Senator Connors, or Assemblyman Rupp, or Assemblywoman Grove, about this, to take this up the ladder.
Well, we're not afraid to jump and jump.
No, I know.
We've called the president.
We
don't have any barrier.
I
don't care if you get a direct line to God himself.
I understand that, but it's gonna have to be, the state's gonna have, because there's, what, two in the state?
Well, they're gonna be three.
Well, be three, that's right, there'll be three.
There's three, and
So
then
you're
there's
now,
Third Island
if you're looking at three, you're looking at what, $45 million?
$45 million.
Right, something along those lines.
Yep.
I guarantee you that if, as this thing starts to really materialize, then in fact, I guarantee the state will get involved, Menendez will get involved, Booker will get involved, all the assemblymen will
It'll
get
be too
involved.
late for them.
It may or may not
Politically, it
be.
will be too late, and we are working to ensure
Right.
that they might happen.
But you're right.
We've written the governor, that response.
Mm-hmm.
The AG, that response. We sent our AG, the response from the AG in Massachusetts, just kind
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
of
I know.
jostled his mind.
Right.
That didn't happen. Booker, I don't know what the hell Spartacus is. I really don't. He's out there fighting wars. Okay, Mendez must be in the Dominican Republic. I have no idea. Okay, nobody knows where he is.
good.
You can't get a hold of any of those guys. We did get a hold of Kim. Kim, bright, young, very articulate guy, understood our package before we talked to him. His staff fully briefed him on that. But now we're getting close to the transfer. We got a couple of key questions. They have a security force. When the license is transferred, who pays for it?
Holtec.
Holtec or the LLC?
I have
Can't
no
be
idea.
Holtec, because the licensee is.
Well, it'll be the licensee.
Okay, that's an LLC.
Right.
We understand the perils of an LLC. Okay? They also have a little fire department or something like that. Who pays for that?
Holtec, the LLC.
The
We just
LLC?
had this meeting.
Okay, so they're gonna pick up the cost. There's a requirement for a transfer station. Does the,
Well, they're not gonna pick up the cost, they're gonna reimburse our fire company.
why?
There's no cost, they have an in-house fire company now, and based on the fact that the license is transitioning from an active site to a decommissioned site, they're not required to have their fire brigade there anymore under the NRC guidelines.
The
So-
present ones?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So now they're going into decommissioning, the license is not active, so they transfer the responsibility to the local fire department, which is still the local fire department's responsibility.
Right.
When there is a call on that site, our fire department is also dispatched
Right.
out. Now, I'm gonna say Exelon has agreed to supply us with all the hoses on site, all the tanks and Scott air packs on site, radio communication, so that we're able to communicate through the tunnels and through
What
all
about
of,
the personnel?
it's our personnel who respond now.
That is, to me.
They will have
that is
two
a very
indi-
precarious-
they will ha-
Excuse me, that's a very precarious position for Lacey.
And they will be
Their
training all of
fire
our,
people- Wait a minute, let me finish. Their fire department has had extensive training in handling hazmat material. They
There
have
is
had
no,
ex-
wait,
No,
there is no hazmat material on
there.
the
Wait a
site.
minute. There's also radioactive material,
Correct.
okay? Our fire department has it.
Right.
We expect our volunteers to go into a situation like that without the proper
No, wait,
training.
that's,
You're gonna
wait,
hire
first of
them?
all, first, let me know, no, first of
All right,
all,
I'm with
first
you.
of all, we're working on a memorandum of agreement with them, a memorandum of understanding with the with Holtec, okay? Secondly, at this meeting, which we're gonna discuss, it was the Holtec is absolutely behind. They are going to send all of our guys at their cost for training on all of this. They're also setting up where if our firefighters go in there and any radioactive, they lose a suit, they lose whatever, will be replaced on a rental basis within 24 hours until they can get new ones there. Okay, because these things take time to get, but they have a deal with a company out in Pennsylvania that if
Why
they,
don't we, if you're gonna work a deal like that, why not retain these people in another form?
because
Why
they
not
don't,
have
Amy,
a-
they
why-
don't have to, and we can't force them to.
Oh, yeah, you can. I think you can. I think there's a whole hell of a lot of
How would
leverage.
we?
That guy doesn't have a success story.
How would we force them
What?
to?
That's through negotiation. Look at what they're doing in Pilgrim. Are you familiar with the pilot program
Mm-hmm.
that they've implemented? What the people in Plymouth said, tough luck, pal. Under the pilot program, came in lieu of taxes. You will pay us, and they have already agreed to accept a $13 million bill for 2 years. That is to be renegotiated at the end of each year for another pilot program. The thing that frustrates us, when I look at the total, and our committee looks at the total plan of Holtec, their total objective, 60 plants, 26 of those plants are owned by Exelon. They have a good relationship with Exelon.
Right.
If you look at what they would gain versus what the ultimate game plan is, and that is to open a storage facility in New Mexico, they would gain $15 billion a year minimum for temporarily storing. However, the law now reads there cannot be any interim storage facility for spent rods. They'll fix that. There'll be another R behind some bill someplace. They're not done.
Ron, let me just interrupt. I understand your frustration because you're used to being in charge.
I
Now,
am in
we
charge.
aren't.
As a taxpayer, I am in charge,
Well,
Mark. Let
okay,
me-
well, but you've hired us to negotiate, and that's what we're doing. We're in the process of negotiation. We met with you and we've met with Holtec, and we understand what your desires are. This is an ongoing negotiation. We haven't signed anything, and you're right, we have some leverage, but to a certain degree. What happened in Zion was because they didn't have a decommissioning company, and
They
they
did it
allowed,
themselves.
well, they did themselves, exactly, and that's why they're in the shape they're in.
Right.
When we met, we discussed that. We don't, I mean, you pushed so far, and believe me, I've been in some significant negotiations in my time, and especially with Exelon, and that's one of the reasons I ran for reelection to come, let me finish. I know you want to jump in, let me finish. That's one of the reasons I ran for reelection, because I wanted to be involved in this transition. We've got some very good people involved in the township, including our administrator, who's got a lot of history.
I'm not disregarding what your
But
capabilities are.
we haven't given anything. We're well, I read everything that you send to us.
I tell you
And
what-
and just because I don't contact you back,
That's
and I
fine.
do go back and forth with Paul, we do email back and forth with some ideas back and forth. So I've read everything you have about Pilgrim and what they're going through. So,
I think-
and we're learning from them as well.
I think one of our big concerns is that I don't believe you as a group understand the leverage that you have in the overall game plan of Holtec LLC. They need a success story. They're trying to work with Pilgrim. Pilgrim's through Elizabeth Warren. She jumped in, their AG jumped in, everybody jumped in. We don't have any, I don't know where the hell he is. He has no interest in this. Why? Is it because Norcross is involved? I don't know. Politics are overriding what the citizens need. Now, his plan, okay, is to decommission all 26 of Exelon plus the rest of the 60. God bless him, if it works. But what I don't understand is why the revision to the bill to shortchange Lacey for storage fees that have occurred over 40 years that we're gonna get buckets for. Do
Well,
I,
as far as the storage fees
Let me
goes.
finish, please.
Okay.
okay? So that's where I get very teed off, okay? And in the negotiation process, you've negotiated, every one of you have, so have I. I work with governments, and I work with the major global corporations of the world. And the fact of the matter is, when you know what the sweet spots are, you negotiate to the sweet spots. And I just think that we're overlooking an opportunity to ensure that this township gets every damn penny that it deserves. And I quite frankly don't feel the energy that that's happening. I just don't feel it. Is it because you're not giving us feedback? I don't expect to blow. However, we've given you tons of information and it ain't coming back. So that's the one concern that we have. We're, as I indicated earlier, we're working with Congressman Kim, okay? He's taking the cudgel. We've got a whole plan in action, and I think we're going to release in a very short order. I'm not speaking for him, I'm speaking for our side of it. But I do believe that there is a hell of a lot of opportunity. They have been a great corporation to have in town. The management is local in town. That management is gonna work for Holtec, okay? Those kinds of things look up. I wanna make sure we get what is due to us. And that's 15 on the table, 15 million on the table, that should be ours. And I'd just like to see a stronger action.
I don't know what more we can do except to tell you that it's something that we're in negotiations with, and we're doing everything we can and have been doing everything we can to ensure that Lacey gets their part. And as far as the spent fuel, there was an agreement that spent fuel would be sent to Yucca Mountain. That doesn't look like it's going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned Norcross. because I think the major issue is the fact that there will be 3 plants in New Jersey that are gonna be stuck, 2 of them being in Salem.
We're already subsidizing 2 of them.
So 2 of them being in
That's a
Salem
recent tax.
in Norcross's backyard. So basically, what happens there will affect what happens here, and you and I have both discussed that. So I know you feel like we're not keeping you in the loop, but we're keeping you in the loop the best we can, because like any negotiation, which is why we can negotiate matters of real estate pending litigation and personnel in executive session, you know, you don't negotiate on TV.
I understand.
You negotiate in the back room.
I understand.
Okay,
But
and that's why, so unfortunately,
We
there are
will
things
supply
happening
you
behind the
with more
scenes
information if
that
we
you,
get back from you as to
that,
what you
we
need.
We give you as much
We
of.
need.
we give you as much as we can.
We give as much as we can.
Okay, you can state that. However, okay, the fact remains, there's a lot of money.
Of
And
course.
the fact remains, when you're negotiating, if you have 2 items that you really want, you put out 6. You know what you're gonna give up. I'm not telling
Right,
you how
no, we- right.
to negotiate, okay? We've all been around that table,
Right.
okay? And I just wanna feel comfortable that we have that drive and intensity to make it happen.
Well, you know
Yes, we do.
what, perhaps we should set up another meeting with your group, and periodically. Now, what I would ask, the next time we have a meeting, and I ask you for a list of things to discuss, and you give me 4, don't come with 12.
Exactly.
We'll come with 8.
We've already,
No,
we've had,
We're good
Okay.
negotiators.
we've had
So-
meetings.
so am I.
We've had,
Everything,
So am I.
we've not played that game with you.
well, you did,
No, we didn't.
yeah, you did.
No, you didn't.
Last time we had a meeting, I asked you for a list, you gave me 4, and you came with 12.
What that list was is what we had intended based upon what we had heard. If you want 4, you better have 8.
right.
If you want 8, you better
Well-
have 12. What are you willing to give up?
You're
That's the
working
basic
with us,
of
not against us.
negotiation.
We
You're
understand
not
that.
negotiating with us.
And
We need
we've
to be
had,
able to do that.
we've had meetings with them, and we have discussed certain things with them. Obviously, they've asked us not to say anything in public, and that's, we tend to honor that.
That's always a good thing to do when you're negotiating, is to keep everybody
Right.
that may have an input. You don't have to use us as citizens, you could use us as advisors. And that's a role that we have attempted to play. If you want to continue to play that, we will do that. We will supply you with whatever is required, whatever we find.
Like Mark
Please.
said, I read everything you guys send me. I mean, everything. And I go back and read it 2 and 3 times to make sure that I do understand it, because some of it is kind of technical.
Good Lord, we gotta get you a life.
That's what my wife says too, by the way, so. But I do read everything, just to make sure, and I go back and I'll be thinking about something, and I'll go back and read it again, just to be sure that I completely understand.
All right?
We had one meeting with Holtec, and it really was it was a feeling out meeting. We're in the process of having a next meeting, and why don't we, before we have that next meeting, set up another meeting with the Citizens Coalition?
Well, we can do that.
And this way, we can get an idea of, you know, as far as, I would like to see, and you can show me, the 15 million, what methodology you used to come up with the 15 million, that I'd be
That
interested to
would be
see.
fairly easy.
Yeah,
I look
that's-
forward to that.
Yeah, it's right around, it's like 14 million and change, because I
Right.
did it myself too.
Right. I'd like to see it.
15 and you
Yeah.
got 34
Right.
have to be
Yeah,
done.
it's the formula times the
Yeah.
number.
Because,
of
listen,
spent fuel.
I agree.
That's what we got.
Lacey is due. You know, we should,
Exactly.
I mean, that's
Right.
why there was
And this is-
legislation, the Stranded Nuclear Waste Act, things like that. I mean, and it's gonna change, like you said, there's gonna be new Rs and Ss and everything else, so, and eventually, it will come out that we've gotta get something. Listen, God bless Holtec and whoever, if they can get it all decommissioned in the time and manner and it gets out of here. No one wants that spent fuel out of here more than me.
We had obviously met with Senator Connors, we met with other things. And one of the feedback that we got was Mr. Singh would meet with us in September. You know, that's like kissing your sister. Everything will have been accomplished by September. But anyway,
Maybe not.
again, we'll offer our services, we look forward, we want to see Lacey succeed.
Well, there's
As
no
well-
question
as
about,
we do.
as we do.
And nothing bothers us more when we're getting calls from around the country that people are experiencing the same frustration.
Yeah.
From lack of response from the NRC and from just the, you know, devil be damned, we're gonna drive it down your throat and this is the way life is gonna be.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable. All
Thank you,
right,
Ron.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Come on down, Regina.
That's my favorite school board member.
Regina DeSenza, Sunset Drive, Sunrise Beach. A couple of weeks ago, under Open Public Records, I had needed to review the landlord disclosure forms, and I did so on April 10th and April 12th. And I have some questions. What exactly is the process or procedure to register a rental property in Lacey? How do people know about it?
Well, it's on our website, and it's been a law that's been on the New Jersey statute since 1974.
Okay.
So, some towns do have, a permit requirement for us to do
Right.
resales and rentals. We don't here in Lacey. Many of the towns in Ocean County don't have a permitting process where they have a separate department that does inspections, where then they would register their landlord disclosure as well. But ours is posted on our website. It is notified to the landlords, and of course, if there's a property maintenance issue or we get a complaint about something, I mean, one of the first things that we see is that, okay, the owner of the house has a different address listed, Mr.
Right.
Downing would check for a landlord disclosure, and then he would notice them for failing to file a landlord disclosure on file.
So we don't have any type of inspection required or permit process? for
No, we
rentals?
don't, not for resales or rentals in Lacey Township.
And
We've
like-
looked into it, and it's just not, it's too costly for what it would cost for us to put on additional employees to do it.
But if a property is found to be rented and not registered, is there a fine?
Yes, there could be if they fail to register the fine, and it goes before the municipal court judge.
And how would that be calculated?
It's up to the judge to set the
A
fee.
judge would set
Yeah,
the fee?
there's usually parameters, and it's up to the judge.
And shouldn't those forms be filed annually, because some of them were quite old?
No, they only have to file them unless the
Just
tenants
one
change.
time?
Yeah, only when the tenants change, you have to file it, and you have, I believe, 30 days to file it once you have a change in tenancy.
And there's no liability to the town without inspections?
No.
No.
There's probably more of a liability if we had an inspection and we failed to catch something.
Right.
All right. Because, you know, it took me almost 2 days to go through all those files.
We don't get rid of any of them, as you can see.
I can see that.
And we usually try to staple similar addresses to each other, so you can
Right.
see, yeah, but we don't get rid of any of them. Even though I'm allowed to by records retention, I don't.
Right, okay, because I noticed a couple of tenants might have been deceased. And a couple of the landlords also might be in that category.
Correct.
And some former rentals are now owner occupied for a couple of, you know, houses that I personally knew about. So,
Yeah, they don't have to pull it once, like, we don't know when a house goes to owner
But-
occupied, so to speak.
my real question would be, what's the point of keeping that file the way it is if it's not accurate? And
Because
anybody
there's no reporting method for them to come back and tell us that the house is no longer rented, we're living in it, or, you know, there's been a change in tenancy. The only way we know there's a change in tenancy is usually when code enforcement has it. So I prefer to keep them all versus
Right.
disposing of them, because I have there's no way for them to report
Another concern I
back.
had, though, is when people try to sell their property and can't, and the house is paid for, and they just, like, put an ad in the paper or rent it, and they don't know about this rental registration. I suspect there's many more houses that we don't have a rental form for.
Could be, but I do believe that most neighbors are self-policing, and they do call it in when they find there's a change and there's tenants that are there. And again, usually, you know, code enforcement does find out about it one way or another.
All right, because I was trying to get like an accurate count on how many rentals we have in this town and where
And you
they're
can't,
located.
yeah.
It's impossible, so what you're saying.
Right.
And you just publicized very well to
Yes.
the residents.
Thank you for the
that-
commercial.
You know, so thank you for the commercial.
All right, well, like I said, that was a difficult file to go through, and I couldn't get the counts or the information accurately that I had hoped to get from it. Thank you anyway.
Any other comments from the public? Come on down.
Yeah, Paul Dressler, 70 Arbor Ridge, Public Seabreeze. Just a follow-up. A bill was actually passed in relation to Oyster Creek back in September of 2018. It's called 5895, and it was signed by Trump. It's got to get allocated out. And this, again, is the same issue we're having. People in the state don't want to do anything, stuff like that.
That bill, was that a bill or was that just the budget for the NRC?
No, it was a bill, and it was, we call it conglomerate bill, so much money for the veterans.
Well, yeah, that was the budget. That was,
No, it was a bill. He passed it, and last thing we talked, in the stone office with regard to, he said the money just needed to get allocated, and nothing's happened since then.
5895, you said?
Yeah,
Okay, so you look it up.
Lauren's gonna,
Look it up, Lauren, okay, thank you.
Just, you know,
Okay.
just another thing.
Because I remember you forwarded me one and asked about it, and I sent it then to MacArthur's office, at the time, Noriko.
And he was trying to do something about it, and he didn't get reelected as far as stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
boy.
then we tried to do stuff
Yep.
again with our nice folks at the state, and it's gone nowhere,
It's gotten nowhere, I know.
you know? And there's only so much money available as far as stuff like that, and none of it's been allocated. Some of it's supposed to go to seniors, some of it's supposed to go to Army vets as far as stuff like that. It's a combination bill, and there's only so much money available. And I imagine if, my assumption is if nobody's doing anything with it, and the vets are, as far as stuff like that, they're gonna gather all the dollars and eat all the dollars up.
You're right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
we need to do an executive session resolution.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 131, a resolution Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing and convening an executive session to discuss matters of personnel, anticipated pending litigation, and matters of real estate.
And motion?
Move it.
Second?
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn, please?
Move it.
Second.
We will not be coming back out and making any decisions.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you for everything.